Hey everyone, NicMakesPlays here. Today I'm going to go over my Renekton Sejuani deck. I'm excited for this deck because Renekton is the champion I was most excited for. Coming with the screen expansion, this deck's really crazy. I originally had a standard Overwhelm deck with Renekton, but I realized that with Untitled Researcher, which gives 3 mana allies in your deck, +3/+3, and then you can use Predict to see them more often, you can pack on huge damage with Overwhelm, and I'm sure you know how that can turn out, so let's get right into the deck. So the main combo of this deck, or I guess but change it from a regular Overwhelm deck, is that I use Xenotype Researchers. When I'm summoning, grant 3 random allies in your deck +3/+3. All you have to do is just get that onto any of the Overwhelm units in your deck, such as Runeterra, Alpha WILDCLAW, Sejuani, Ancient Yeti, or Renekton. And then you can see it also more often, the ones it buffs, with the Predict keyword. So Predict, pick a card from among 3 in your deck, shuffle the deck, and put that unit on top. So you have Xenotype Researchers on 3. You also have Aspiring Chronomancer and Ancient Preparations, which make it easier to see the buffed unit. And then you also can draw it regularly. Also, another perk of Ancient Preparations is, since it's a landmark, enables Shape Stone. Shape Stone give an ally +1/+1 round, but if you summon a landmark this game, which could be Ancient Landmark, or whatever it's called, Ancient Preparations, give it +3/+1 instead. This can pack on huge damage with Overwhelm. So there's a few key synergies going on here. But this is all on top of just being a good normal Overwhelm deck, so let's get into it. 3 Ancient Preparations, play Predict, so look at 3 random cards in your deck, pick one and put it on top, and then in 2 turns you get a Clockwind. So this, well, it's on round start, so the turn goes by, that's 1, and then on your next attack you get the Clockwind. So yeah, pretty good. It's a 2/2, let you pick your draw, curve out your early game. It's really nice with predictions. You can make sure you get like 1, 2, 3 opening, this being the 1, and then 2, 3 being the 2-drop and 3-drop. And then also late in the game helps you pick your draws. Let's say that you're past the early game, you just need to draw. The Overwhelm unit's really strong. Another thing I like to do with it a lot is put a spell on top of my deck, because sometimes you just want to open attack so they can't develop any blockers. And if you know you're going to open attack next turn, then you're able to put like Ruthless Predator on top of your deck, or a Shape Stone to push for more damage on the open attack. So yeah, pretty good. 3 Exhaust, give an enemy -2/-0, and vulnerable. This round, this is good because it's a 1 mana removal spell if the attack goes through. You can hook things in the late game that have low defense to push for game because of the Overwhelm keyword. And another thing that's great about it is it enables Renekton. Renekton says when I challenge enemy, this counts with vulnerable, so the Exhaust. Give me +2/+1 this round, which is very strong paired with this Overwhelm. Keyword. The whole point of the deck is to do the Overwhelm damage. It's a mid-rangey type deck, but you could also classify it somewhat as aggro, because the whole point is just to play Overwhelm units and burst huge damage per game. So pretty good. Shape Stone. We went over this card already. So if you summon a landmark this game, give it give your unit +3/+1. This is enabled by the Ancient Preparations, but it's also enabled by Rockhopper. When I'm summoned, summon a Rolling Sands. So landmarks. You have 6 landmarks basically to put Shape Stone to do the +3/+1. Pretty strong. This is like one of the best cards in probably the whole expansion. So I think this is amazing, this deck to burst for like huge damage. And also the +1 can make on the defense can make your unit live. Next we have Aspiring Chronomancer. This card's really good. I'm surprised not in more decks quite yet. I'm sure it'll get there. But a 2-mana 2/3. 2/3 is one of the best stat lines you can have in the game. For 2-drop, because they block 2 1s, which are usually the 1-drops, as well as they trade the 3 2s, of course. So usually you always get a favorable or even trade with this. But being able to predict, or I guess choose what you draw for turn, enables early game curves. You can get your late game payoff later in the game. Really strong stuff, so you can kind of, pick what you need at the time and put it out of your deck. Next is Rockhopper. This card is a key card in this deck. A, enables Shape Stone, but the other thing is, so 2-mana 3/1, I'm summon a Rolling Sands. This says when an enemy is summoned, destroy me to grant it vulnerable. So you play it, gets Rolling Sands, the next thing they summon gets vulnerable, right? This is amazing, again, paired for Renekton, because Renekton has, when I challenge an enemy, give me +2/+1. And this allows for huge damage output. He becomes a 6/5. When he's buffed, let's say he's buffed off the +3/+3, so he's a 7/7, +2/+1. He's a 9/8. Yes, okay, 9/8. So that's huge Overwhelm damage. Next we have Ruthless Predator. Ruthless Predator is really strong. Give an ally +2/+0 to enemy vulnerable this round. As we know, vulnerable counts for challenging, so it's buffs Renekton. It also lets you pick what enemy you want to remove, so you can get things out of the game that are threats, like I guess Twisted Fate, who's leveling up, or like Filio, stuff like that. And in the late game, It's a buff for more damage output, as well as letting you burst for more damage on, like, if you want to go for a low health unit and go for game. Really strong. It's also Renekton's champ spell. It's amazing as Renekton's champ spell because it means you have Renekton on the field. So obviously it's gonna be perfect for what you're doing at the time. All right, next we have Ruthless Raider. Pretty simple. 2 mana 3 with Overwhelm. Chips in the early game damage with Overwhelm. Go with Exhaust. Just really consistent this deck, and it's also a nice buff target off of the Xenotype Researcher. So next we have Troll Chant. 2 Troll Chant. I want to fit a third, but there's a few cards I want to fit in this deck. But give an ally +0/+2 to give an enemy -2/-0 this round. This keeps your overall units alive and healthy, as well as winning you impactful combat trades. So very good. It's one of the best cards in Freyord overall. It's just so strong. If you do it in a combat when you have 2 units battling, you can make both of them live by like minusing one of the blockers' attacks and then giving the other one of your units defense, and then they both live. So it can be like a 2-for-1. Really strong. Next thing is Xenotype Researcher. This card's great when I'm summoning. Grant 3 random allies to your deck +2/+3. Obviously, you want to use it on Overwhelm units. Anything it hits is good. It's just strong in general, but you see them more often predict, but hit the Overwhelm units, again, big damage. The cool thing about this deck is it's not like based around this. You don't need like a whole deck based around the Xenotype Researcher. It's just a solid 3/3, which are like the normal stats. So pretty decent neutral stats for a 3/3 with the bonus effect, which is nice because on the Overwhelm units, especially put on like Rune Runner or something like that. This one has Spell Shield, so they can't really deal with the huge stats it has, like with Vengeance or anything, because the Spell Shield protects it. But we'll get to that. Next is Renekton. He's pretty much the star of the deck. He makes all the vulnerable payout worth it. When I challenge an enemy, give me +2/+1 this round. Level up by dealt 12 damage. So basically, you attack him twice with this challenge. You can even block with him to get the dealt 12 damage. Then he's leveled up. Attack can be +3/+3. I'm sure you guys can tell when he's buffed up by Xenotype Researcher, he's insane. If not, he's still insane. Really good champ spell because of Renekton's Ruthless Predator. So overall, very, very good. This card's a key point in this deck. And also a nice thing is that Overwhelm, usually like Freyord Noxus Overwhelm, struggles somewhat in the 4-drop category because there's not like great 4-drops. Like Basilisk Riders only if you have Allegiance, and then you have to open Ancient Yeti. If you open Ancient Yeti in the opening hand, you can play it on turn 4, but besides that, you can't just draw into a 4-drop. This is a good one. So very good. And then Crowd Favorite needs wide boards, which Overwhelm doesn't really do. Next is Rune Runner. This is one of the strongest cards to come out of the new Stream expansion. 5 mana, 6/4, Overwhelm, Spell Shield. As I said, if it's buffed by Xenotype Researcher, it becomes a 9/7 with Spell Shield Overwhelm, which is huge damage. They can't Vengeance it, stuff like that. So this card is amazing in general, amazing on 5, pretty much good all the time. Can push huge damage, and it makes it very hard for them to stop your lethal when you're doing like Ruthless Predator buffs and stuff like that. So very good. Alpha WildClaw, just a 6 mana 7/6 Overwhelm. Good buff target, becomes a 10/9 when he's buffed, which is like insanely powerful for turn 6. Like on turn 6, see, you play Xenotype Researcher on turn 3, so you have plenty of time to draw an Alpha WildClaw, and if it's buffed, then you just like one in the spot. Nothing can really be a 10/9 Overwhelm on turn 6. So very strong, huge damage output, good health, very good Overwhelm card. Then we have Sejuani. 5/6 Overwhelm, so she has the Overwhelm keyword, which makes her able to push in the damage and continue the... like having multiple Overwhelm units makes it hard for them to stop your lethal attacks. Play, give enemy Frostbite and Vulnerable this round. This is good because it's basically a removable spell in a way, because Frostbite means they won't deal damage back to you, and Vulnerable means you get to kill it. But common theme in this deck, Vulnerable counts as challenging, so if you get something Vulnerable in Frostbite, Renekton can just clean it up, get the +2/+1, and get closer to leveling or level at that point, and get the buff and the Overwhelm damage. So very, very good synergy. If he levels up, it's just a bonus, honestly, but that's nice if it happens. Also good buff target. And last but not least, Ancient Yeti. Round end, I reduced my cost by 1. Extremely strong. If you open it in your opening hand, it becomes 4. Or by turn 4, you can play it on 4. You can also keep it in hand to keep it discounting, but opening multiple of these can really burst out of nowhere. Like, let's say turn 4 you don't play, and you have 2 in your hand, you play like Renekton. The next turn you play Ancient Yeti. The next turn you play discard Ancient Yeti plus something else. It's huge damage output. It's one of the strongest parts of the Overwhelm portion of Freyord. So, very straightforward deck. I like it a lot. I guess cards I didn't play or didn't run. I thought Troll Chant could be nice. Dune Keeper I had in some builds when I don't run the Xenotypes. So you could try this because this is 4 damage on turn 1 if you attack with this and the Sand Soldier. And then also, it's good defensively. Another good card is Omen Hawk. I would change the build around based on if you're playing the predicts or not. This could be good predicts. Well, I was going to say because you can predict what you you get, but you'll draw them anyway. So yeah, it's good replacement. So besides that, I guess one thing people might be wondering is why I don't run Battle Fury. Battle Fury. Grant ally +8/+0. I mean +8/+4. I'm sure you guys know how good this could be with the Overwhelm. It's really good, and I actually want to run it. I'm actually considering adding one like right now, but I'm making the video as we speak, so I won't add it in the middle of me just going over the deck. But it's nice because it's already pretty good in the deck, but with the predicts, as I said, I love being able to late game predict what you draw, like by putting a card on top of your deck, and then going for a big open push lethal with a Troll Chant, or, I mean, not Troll Chant, I'm sorry. Ruthless Predator, give an ally +2/+0, and vulnerable this round. And Shapestone can push huge damage, but this is like perfect for that. And even if it's just as a one-of, it can enable you to put on top of your deck and push for huge damage. You'll see it more often than predict. So I guess the reason why is I don't really know what to cut. We do have a lot of 2-drops. I'm thinking about cutting a Ruthless Raider. That could be weird, though. I like Rockhopper. Maybe 2 Rockhopper. I just really like the vulnerable gives. Maybe we don't need Ruthless Predator. I think I probably may cut a 2-drop for a Battle Fury, but for now, I'll just leave it as it is, and we'll get into some games. Alright, playing Lysandra Trundle is one of the best decks in the game right now. Definitely have to be careful here. Lysandra adds a lot of win cons to this deck. It's going to be hard to fight through all their healing and just removal spells and blockers and such. So here, we're going to keep this. It's turn 1. We always want to keep this to start this kind as early as possible, and mull for our Clockling, our Zenith Researcher. This is a good 2-drop. This is actually a pretty good combo. I don't know how good it'll be against this deck. This thing dies to like Withering Wail and Vile Feast, but the units they play are usually really light on health. So we can get something vulnerable here, enable Shapestone, and then Renekton can tear it up on the vulnerable unit. This is good to get turn 2. It's, you know, it's not turn 1, but the earlier you get it, the better it is. It's still pretty fine to draw on turn 2. Hopefully we draw Researchers. That would by far be the best draw here. If it's our turn 3 curve, and we'll buff things early. This sounds pretty crazy. Alright. We can pass here in case he plays Catalyst of Aeons. Kind of risky. I mean, I think he's in a Vile Feast either way. So once a Catalyst of Aeons, he'd rather not have him heal. He can do it now, and then we can attack after. Some run Catalyst of Aeons, some don't. Yep. He knows. Okay, we got him real good. Alright. Let's see what he does here. We have Ancient Yeti on 4, 5, WILDCLAW. This can clean up anything that gets vulnerable. We're in an amazing spot. We really have tons of damage output, tons of Swarm, a bunch of Overwhelm units. And then, yeah. I guess we want to play Renekton now. Or, yeah, we'll play Renekton now. If he attacks, we'll just take it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys surrendered by the way he's emoting. He knows we made a good play on turn 3. Okay. We have tons of damage output here. Exhaust. If he plays another unit, we can sweep that one up too. We're going to Shape Tone this turn for sure, which will leave us at exact mana. I don't know if I'm going to use Ruthless Predator or Exhaust. He doesn't play another unit and decides to have like Vengeance instead. So we're going to play the more expensive one so we don't lose any of our spell mana if we don't use any more spells. Or we don't lose any mana that could have been banked. Because it doesn't matter which one we played that much, so I'm going to be discounted anyway. We should win this game. We're really far ahead. And we're about to get like the Renekton going. Okay, deep in thought. Troll players do have a lot of different ways they can use their spells, so this is a pretty, I don't know, common, but usually some certain players with this deck do have to weigh their options. We'll see what they decide to do. Just gonna pass here. Alright, we're gonna get the buff from the vulnerable because he's challenging enemy. Interesting. Goes down to 6. Is he going to use Catalyst of Aeons again? Or is he set up a Ruination? Maybe Bladed Ravine could be good. Yeah, that's really good. Kills all enemies with low health. As much as I want to save Renekton, there's no point because against this deck, things that have 1 health are basically useless because of Withering Wail. It just kills all of them, and like Vile Feast and Avalanche. So it's most smart just to let it die here. Let's see, do something else. No. Okay. It's a pretty good Blighter Ravine, but he's still at 8. It's a decent draw. Just more spells for the late game with a lot of decent amount of units. We can play this here and then play these discounted. It also depends what we draw. Like if I play WildClaw here, let's say I draw WildClaw for turn, like another one or a Sejuani. I can play Sejuani or WildClaw plus the 1 mana Ancient Yeti next turn. When it's discount next turn. Maybe we can like speed him up or something. I don't know. Sometimes they slow down on purpose after you do that, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. He probably has Ruination and he's like debating passing, so I'll play more cards into it. I don't mind getting out of the way. Nope. Okay. Stay up a WildClaw here. Hopefully just pass. Maybe like Grass the Undying, just pass. Okay. Play the more expensive one here. We maybe could have. I don't know. I maybe could play the cheaper one just so he doesn't know what we could burst into. Because if we play the cheaper one, he's like, oh, he could have Alpha WildClaw. He could have Sejuani. Yeah, I probably should play the cheaper one first. I played the more expensive one because we had like. I wanted to play this turn no matter what because otherwise we lose so much. Okay, it's very risky for us to play the extra one here. Because he could Ruination and make us lose all of our units. He could have Harsh Winds. I guess for now, let's just use Ruthless Predator. Or I guess we'll use Exhaust. We can Ruthless Predator whenever we want. Let's use Exhaust here. Find the higher health one. I also don't want to do it with this, because then if he Vengeances this, he'll keep his unit as well. Okay. We had Shapestone, Ruthless Predator, all kinds of stuff, so I didn't really see him in that game. Okay, we're playing it's Shurima, PNZ, Ezreal. We want to have a good early game curve. I kind of want to get Chronomancer, keep Chronomancer here so we can play it on 2 and hopefully hit Xenotype Researcher for turn 3. With Mold the Rest for like a 1-drop or the Researcher. This is good. So we have 1-drop, 2-drop. This is another 2-drop. This is a weird hand. A lot of lower cost cards. Let's hope we get Xenotype Researcher off one of these. Neither. So I'm going to skip. You can just skip here and take nothing. If you don't like what you see. Higher chance of drawing our curve of 1 through 3. Even though we already have it technically. That's a good draw. The earlier you get it, the better it is. Alright, let's try again here. Go for the Xenotype. Nice. So get Xenotype Reacher on top of our deck for a strong turn 3. Play both these on turn 4. It's good. So I'm going to attack here because the lower health they have, the better it is for us. Because we have Overwhelm units. This does like, make it in range of more of their spells, like a one health removal spell like Stag Shock or something, like a Thermo. But I'd rather them use removal on these cards than other cards. Even if Static isn't to remove something like our Overwhelm units, it could damage them, make it easier to remove. Okay, so he still can't get a missing shot this turn. He attacks. The high health, I guess, and attack for damage output is good in this matchup, but also the health's good for staying alive versus spells. I really want that to be buffed. That one's so good. Alright, let's go super wide. This enables us a good Stag Shock here, but it's fine. Never heard that interaction. Let's just get rid of this and push for damage here. Any damage we can get is great, because it'll make it easier to clean up with the Overwhelm units. Alright, he's taking 6 here. That's totally good for us. A decent chunk of early game damage, and we have a bunch of Overwhelm units in our hands, as well as buffs in our deck. So we did have to use a lot of our predicts before we played the Xenotype Researcher, but you can still just draw them normally / draw more predicts. That is scary. Okay. So that can either kill this or pop the spell shield. It's up to him. Either way is a good use for us, because use it on here, he's just basically letting us keep a unit that would have died. I'm sure he can use it on this though, yeah. It's fine. So his guys all have vulnerable so far. We can hook this on this so it lives, and we don't have to just out of that. We can use Sejuani here to try and kill Ezreal. So we have to choose like every way we block here, or he blocks here. These are all vulnerable this turn. And there's no harsh winds or anything in this deck because it's a Shurima PNZ.
I'll see you both on the other side.
We'll be waiting. Try not to touch anything important.
Alright. This is good here. This is good here. This is good here. That's why we all live. Pretty strong. Hopefully you can't answer this. It's kind of hard to answer in general. I mean, you can maybe like get excited this. Yeah. I don't mind that though. It was a bit greedy because I could have used something else to guarantee I killed this, but since it was frozen, I wanted to make sure I got all the kills I could. And I'm also not that threatened by Ezreal anyway right now. Okay, his guys are going to get pretty big pretty fast.
Now I must act. Sounds dangerous. I'm in.
I think here we can just give this some health and then do this so he doesn't get the Mystic Shot. He's pretty low on cards. So heal 2 health, no Mystic Shot for him. I like that. Alright. We have 3 Overwhelm units facing down with a Burst Spell. Push more damage. This can predict, and we can use that to see our units. I want to just see... Okay, so we might win this turn right now, but I'm just going to assume we would have hit a brick unit. For now, I guess we'll just play normally and try and kill this. This has spell shields, so we should just go here. We can trade with these. I want to like winning this turn to be great, but I kind of hope he stops us because I want to get the buff thing, like a buff Alpha WILDCLAW or something. Okay, so we don't even get the Overwhelm in general over here. So exactly 3 damage. We just put it on the unit that has spell shield, and that should be lethal. He has 8. Yeah, only 2 cards. I doubt it can stop us here. Oh, can he? Alright, GG's, GG's. And we could have predicted for the buff unit again, so pretty cool stuff. Alright, and that's my Renekton Sejuani deck. I think it's really strong. I definitely want to explore Renekton more because he's a character I was most excited for coming in this expansion. But I actually really like Azir and Nasus and LeBlanc and Silver. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, feel free to follow me on Twitch. I stream at 6:30 p.m. EST every day. I go live with a lot of these decks, and I play at really high octane matches in the Master Ladder. And yeah, feel free to subscribe too on Twitch. I mean on YouTube and or Twitch. I really appreciate it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one, guys. Peace.